Welcome back for another video. In today's video we'll be looking at the top 100 greatest ever FPL managers, including their team selections, player ownership, transfer plans and more. As usual, we connected with one of the managers for an interview, and this week's manager has 9 top 10k finishes. He's answered some questions including the tips behind his success and more. If you want to keep up with what the greatest ever FPL managers are doing this season, don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy the video. With the many millions of FPL managers, just barely 100 meet the criteria to join our list. The criteria to join this list is a minimum of 4 top 1k finishes or a minimum of 7 top 10k finishes. They are undisputably the greatest managers to have ever played the game, with a record to prove it. Their decision making, planning and understanding of the game is exceptional. We call them the Elite 100. That said, there's actually slightly more than 100, but to keep it simple, we'll mostly use percentages when going through their teams and moves. Let's start off with the Elite 100's team selections. By aggregating all of their teams together, we can arrive at a consensus team, which is a full squad of 15 players that they agree on having the most. One reasonable conclusion you could draw is that the higher percentage a player has, the more you should consider owning them. The Elite 100 template team is as follows. We switched from a 5-3-2 to a 4-4-2, and as expected, Chilwell drops out. He was 50% owned last game week. Livramento, Foden and Foster also drop out, replacing them is Alonso, Jota and Sanchez. Alonso could emerge as a fantastic pick in Chilwell's absence, with no real competition for the spot. Over the opening 6 game weeks he started, he kept 4 clean sheets, got 1 goal and 1 assist. To add to that, Chilwell could be out for a minimum of 6 weeks, which could make Alonso a top value pick, and next game week he faces Watford for a great fixture. Trent, Cancelo and James' ownership have all gone up as the Elite 100 clearly favour a premium defence. The lack of performing forwards is evident, with Tony the most owned with 61% ownership, followed by Kane and Antonio. Jota is now the second most owned midfielder in the Elite 100's teams, and this is very likely to only go up again off the back of his brace against Southampton. Salah remains 100% owned. Heading into Gameweek 13, here's their transfer activity. 11% rolled the transfer ahead of a Tuesday deadline, where a bank transfer could come in very handy with such a tight turnaround. 67% or around 2/3 of the Elite 100 used their free transfers. 20% took a -4 and 3% took a -8. Before we take a look at their transfers, we caught up with Abdul Rehman from the Elite 100, also known as FPL Salah. A link to his Twitter's in the description. Abdul has a phenomenal 5 top 5k finishes, which consists of 4 finishes in the top 1k. He started this season very well, having broken into the top 50k back in Gameweek 8 and hasn't dropped out since, with just 3 red arrows all season. Here's what he had to say. The first question was, which players are top of your watch list? He said, at the moment Jota, Son, Reguilon and now Alonso due to Chilwell's injury. I'm also tentatively looking at Lukaku for my Vardy replacement. I'll see how he gets on now he's fit again. The next question was, what tips can you share behind your success? He said, I would say being heavily stats driven and not letting the eye test or gut calls sway me too much is a big one. I'm a big fan of XG stats and algorithm models, etc. I use the Opta-Stats tool on Fantasy Football Hub, Mikhail Tokvem's algorithm and FPLreview.com almost every game week. Also, over the years I found myself being a lot more patient with transfers, especially after a bad game week. Not knee-jerking and making early moves or chasing blind bandwagons and price rises. I think this has been the biggest reason for my success, making decisions with a cool head once the dust has settled. The next question was, what's your best FPL memory? He said, the memory that sticks out the most for me is when I captained Sessignon on a double game week. It was in my early years of playing and I think it was the 11-12 or 12-13 season. He blanked in the first game and in the second game did nothing all game, but then scored in the 92nd minute. I remember that day so clearly. I was driving in my car, listening to the radio, feeling a bit dejected, as most of my mini-league rivals hadn't captained him. I had accepted defeat. When the score update came in, I just went ballistic. A more recent one was bringing in John Stones last season, 1 minute before the deadline, right before his brace against Palace. Loved it. And the final question was, if you could add 1 chip to FPL, what would it be? He said, I'm generally not a fan of the chips, but I think if one was to be added or used as a replacement, then I like the idea of something like a double captain chip. So the idea is both your captain and vice captain scores double points for the game week you decide to play it in. I think this is better than the triple captain as it's less luck based. I remember a few seasons ago when Manny was a very popular captain pick in a double game week and he got injured in the first half of the first game for a 1-pointer. Thanks again to Abdul for taking the time to come on this week's episode. A link to his socials are in the description. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for future episodes. A quick look at the chip usage among the Elite 100 next. Nothing to report on this week with no chips used. However, 7% have the second wildcard left, which will no doubt see used soon, with Gameweeks available to use it running out. On to the Elite 100 transfers. Chilwell's injury dominates the transfers this game week, and interestingly exactly 32 went for Alonso and 32 went for James as their Chilwell replacement. 7 opted for Trent Alexander-Arnold. 25 managers sold Foden for Jota and 14 sold Havertz for Jota. On reflection, a transfer they absolutely nailed as Jota went on to score twice in Liverpool's 4-0 win against Southampton. This season, Jota has an expected goal involvement every 105 minutes, which is better than Salah and Mane, and just goes to show what great value he is when he's playing. The Elite 100 rarely make premium transfers, they're constantly looking for where the value is. Gallagher's another player who's been a great value pick, but the 7 managers who sold Foden for him will be disappointed by his Game Week 13. However, he remains a good long-term option with Palace's fixture run. We'll finish by looking at how the Elite 100 managers are ranking currently. Their ranks are categorised into 5 areas: top 10k, top 100k, top 500k, top 1 mil and outside top 1 mil. The breakdown is as follows. 3.6% of the Elite 100 are in the top 10k, and a 5% increase for those within the top 100k, up to 31%. An increase to 80.4% ranking within the top 500k, and now just 6% of them are outside the top 1 mil. The current top manager is Finn Solly, who's having another outstanding season, currently ranks 1.8k off the back of finishing 39th overall last season. That concludes this video on the Elite 100. We'll be following them closely throughout the season. Thank you again to Abdul for taking the time to answer the questions. Likewise, thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like the video and hit subscribe to support the channel. I read every comment, so let me know if you liked the video and what you thought of their team.